All right, well, let's talk about a big story that continues to dominate and it developed today, how to slow the spread of this new variant. It's the Omicron COVID variant. The president said on Monday the variant is cause for concern, but not panic.
And meanwhile, the CDC expanding its vaccine booster guidance now, encouraging all adults to go and get that booster. And NBC News has learned that Pfizer is expected to seek FDA authorization for boosters for 16 and 17-year-olds. That's according to a source familiar with the process. The FDA has not commented yet. But here to talk vaccines, variants, more, NBC News medical contributor Dr. Kavita Patel joining us this morning. Dr. Patel, thank you for your time.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. My kids know that Al's the VIP in the house, too.
Listen,
they were very excited.
It's pretty much undisputed.
President Biden, it's a big deal.
It's a huge
Al
deal.
Roker.
But to more important things.
I know. Well, so here's the thing. We've talked a lot about these boosters, but now it seems, it's really coming down here. The CDC is now recommending all adults should get a booster 6 months after their initial series, or even 2 months after if they got the right. Johnson & Johnson. So does it matter then now? Because a lot of people are paying, attention now. Does it matter which booster you get in relation to your initial vaccine?
It doesn't. We're still recommending that you stick with what you got, especially if you had one of the Pfizer or Moderna boosters originally. And if you had Johnson & Johnson, we are recommending that you switch to a Moderna or Pfizer just because the data is so great. But really, any booster that you can get your hands on if you're due is the right booster to have. And sticking with your original series or mixing it is totally fine.
We've been through this a couple times before. Yeah. Let's talk about the expected timeline. Once Pfizer requests emergency use authorization for its booster in 16 and 17-year-olds, the time between the request and when they can actually get the shots in the arms.
Yeah, I do think, Craig, it's going to take a while. When I say a while, it won't be days or weeks. It might be it might be a couple of months. And I say that because it's that population, 16 to 17-year-olds, where I think they're going to weigh heavily the risks and benefits, especially potentially of that myocarditis, that inflammation of the heart muscle. Very rare, still rare, but we do see it in that age population. So having said that, I think it's just another emphasis, especially the CDC's kind of change in language last night, that if you're over the age of 18, you really need to get a booster. This isn't really as optional as I think we once thought it was a couple of months ago.
So, Dr. Patel, the World Health Organization warning it's a high risk, a global risk. President Biden saying Omicron is a cause for concern, not for panic. If you are fully vaxxed, both your 2 doses or 1 and a booster, how worried should we actually be? And do we have to think about, changing our behavior patterns going into the holidays?
Yeah, this is the question all my patients are asking me, and I ask myself this. We don't know enough about Omicron to change our behavior drastically. We're already seeing travel restrictions and other things. But as individuals, if you're up to date on your immunizations and you're otherwise healthy, there really is not more you should do unless you're in a very crowded situation. You don't know if people are vaccinated. I would encourage masking in those situations. New York City has put back in an indoor mask mandate, for example. I think other cities will likely do the same, depending on where we pick up Omicron here in the U.S. But your vaccines, we don't think that they'll be rendered ineffective, Al. It's highly unlikely. It's just potentially likely that they get reduced in their effectiveness, but not down to 0. So we're talking taking something from 90-something% to hopefully 50 to 60%. But that's even still a great scenario, considering that'll protect us against death and hospitalization. But all of that data should emerge over the next 1 to 2 weeks as scientists are trying to get these answers quickly.
I've traveled a bit recently, including this past weekend. And what I've noticed in different cities, people are a bit more vigilant depending on where you are, right? You go to some cities in New York, everybody, it seems like, has a mask. You go to other places, I've walked in and my kids were the only ones who had masks. They were almost uncomfortable. So no matter where you are this morning, if you're watching, what city, would you recommend now that people go ahead and put their masks on, especially if they're indoors, or is that not what you would advise?
Indoors. Chanel, indoors, especially though in crowded situations where you really don't know who's around you. I think that if you're indoors,
we're out all over the place and people weren't wearing masks.
Right. I know. And I think stores, just remember this, it's an aerosolized virus. So it's an airborne aerosolized spread. Think of going into a store and that perfume counter example. If you can smell that perfume, that's just as good of a chance that someone's coughing if they're not wearing a mask, and that you could be breathing in those particles. Being immunized protects you. So I want people to know that and have confidence. and that gives you the certainty. But when we're in such uncertain times, Chanel, I think you're bringing up a great point that we just need to take care of ourselves. We've gotten so far through this. We're lucky to have our health, those of us that are here and standing and breathing. But we want to keep that until we know more of the information about what we're dealing with Omicron and any other variant.
Yeah, especially if you head out shopping.
Right.
Dr. Kavita Patel, as always, thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Find your favorite recipes, celebrity interviews, uplifting stories, shop our favorite deals, and so much more with the Today app. Download it now.